been working in the same organization before.
Hang on. Uh-oh.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Zoom it in.
Oh, let's see how many. There we go.
I logged in just so I can share screen, but I'm just gonna keep my camera on.
Okay. Did you, and I promoted you, right?
Yeah, I did.
Can you folks hear us?
Yes.
Okay, so
Oh, you're kind of soft, Diana.
why don't you talk a little bit and then I can turn up the volume.
Okay, can you hear me better? I
Go
have
ahead.
my
Okay,
volumes all the way up, I think.
Okay.
you got you almost all the way up too. How was the mainland? Were you on the mainland, Diana?
I went to visit our daughter in New Orleans, who I'm happy to say just passed the Hawaii bar. So
Wow,
And-
congratulations.
yeah, she's probably gonna be moving here at some point. And then we went to California to visit Lloyd's daughter. So it was nice.
All right.
But we got COVID. I hadn't gotten it yet and must have got it in the airport or something. So I was very sick for a couple weeks.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
no.
was hoping I wasn't gonna get it, you know?
Sooner or later.
Yeah, our doctor said that it's really going around now, really badly.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah.
getting calls and.
Yeah.
New strain.
Yeah.
I think it's so an expired test is more likely to give you a false negative, right?
Oh, really?
Than a false positive, so
Said that it's
all these
really
folks
going
with all
around
those
now,
expired
really
tests that
badly.
they've had for a year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe just not getting around.
I don't know, but it was miserable.
Yeah, remember.
But did you have a good time in New Orleans?
Oh, we did. We went to the jazz festival, the New Orleans
Oh.
Jazz Festival. It is fantastic. I had been once before with my daughter, but my husband and I went so he could experience it. If you ever get a chance, oh my gosh. It was wonderful.
I've been to New Orleans once. It was for a conference. And our hotel was 2 blocks from Bourbon Street.
Oh, that's,
We got
my
the
daughter
full
would say,
experience.
never stay there.
Could you even sleep?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But what I was amazed at was we got in on a Sunday morning, so we took a nap, and then Sunday afternoon, we went walking just to go explore. And I didn't realize, I mean, they have live music on almost every bar, every restaurant, you know, I didn't realize that. And it was great music, great.
Yeah.
music.
And during Jazz Fest, they're
Yeah.
everywhere. There are bands all over the streets, and it's just the best music you ever heard. It's big band music, country western music, jazz. It's amazing. So
Wow.
yeah, it's really a lot of fun. Terrible place though.
Hey, John.
Hi, John.
Hi, John. So are we waiting for Julie?
Yes, we're waiting for
Okay.
Julie, but we do have quorum with Andy and I here. You wanted to start.
Yeah, I think we should.
Okay,
Okay, so it is now, I have 5:02. I will call the meeting to order. I understand there is no written or physical testimony that's going to be presented tonight or this afternoon. And so if all board members attending by Zoom, please raise your hand if there is someone in the room other than yourself. Seeing none, for the record, the members attending are here, are in their room by themselves. And let's see, so next I will move on to approval of the minutes of the May 7th meeting as circulated. Are there any changes or replacements to the minutes that were circulated?
Just
Yeah.
one minor change. My they have an extra R on my name. So
oh,
my name,
Okay.
the D is capital, so capital DE and then capital CAR, one R.
okay,
Thank you. Any other changes? If not, could I have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted or
So-
with the one correction on the name?
So moved.
Thank you, Diana. Is there a second?
Second,
Thank you, Andy. All in favor, say aye, raise your hand. Aye.
I,
Unanimously approved. So we will move on to Kahukumauna report.
so Chair, I've incorporated Kahukumana report in my executive director's report, so I have a few slides I'm gonna update folks on. Can all of you see that? Okay, great. Here's the items I'll be briefing you folks on tonight. Kahukumana decommissioning update, Senate Bill 1511, which we have not had a chance to discuss with you folks. It's something that came up since the last meeting. And then also want to brief you on the Hawaii State Supreme Court Maunakea Access Road decision that was issued last week. And then a little bit on what we've been doing, working with John DeFries and Lloyd Unibasami on the transition. So hang on, let me get this. Kahukumana, At our last Maunakea Management Board meeting, I briefed you folks on a matter that we've been working with Kahuku on for the last couple of months. This has to do, once again, with our cultural artifact inventory. This is material from the ads work sites located on our lands that we lease from DLNR. That were collected during the process of the archaeological inventory in 2009. Once again, some of the material includes blanks, incomplete blanks, semi-complete blanks of adzes that had been worked on, flakes, hammerstones, and miscellaneous leftover material. The material had been collected by the archaeology firm that we are working with for further research, and UHCMS has been housing those items since then. In discussions with Kahuku we've determined that most of the material our analysis and use of them is complete, and we do not need to keep them anymore. There's some material we would like to use for educational purposes. So we've been having a conversation about returning that material. Because this material was taken from UH lease lands, technically the state, DLNR, has responsibility for this material and has final say on what should be done with it. So we've had preliminary communication with SHPD. I've also briefed the MKSO board on this matter. And SHPD came back and indicated a desire to transfer ownership of this material to UH. That raises a number of issues, legal and otherwise, that CMS and the university feel they are very problematic. So we need to get some clarification from SHPD about exactly what they're wanting to do here. We've just had email communication with them. So I want to sit down and meet with them. But we also need to meet with our general counsel office. We need to meet with MKSOA, Kahuku and SHPD to talk this through. In preliminary discussions with our general counsel, one of the issues that comes up is that for the university is that because we are an institution that receives federal funds, if we were to take ownership of this material and we wanted to return it, that would, well, just accepting ownership itself would probably trigger NAGPRA. Which we would then need to go through a whole involved consultation process. It's unclear to us at this point whether there are other legal type issues that come into play with this option. So once again, there's more information that we need to be gathering so we can sit down with the various stakeholders to discuss this matter. But it does on the surface of things, at least initial brush, present some real issues for us as a university to accept this material. So let me stop there just real quick and see if there's any questions on that matter. Okay, hearing none, I'll go on to the bulk of my executive director's report. I do want to give you folks an update on our decommissioning projects. As you may have seen in the news, the Hokukia decommissioning has been completed. We conducted the final site inspection with our UH facilities group on last Friday, to do the final approval that with the contractor that all the work had been substantially done. And UH Hilo Facilities has determined that the project is substantially complete. They will be issuing us a letter and the contractor a letter. Well, they'll be copying us on a letter that they will send to the contractor to that effect. With that, we will also be, the next step for us is to be following up with OCCL, DLNR, to notify them that the project has been completed. That's part of that's a requirement of the permit. We don't anticipate any other issues at this point. You know, it was a bittersweet achievement, but was something that we felt was important to do in terms of fulfilling our commitments as a university to reducing the astronomy footprint on Mauna Kea. The photos you see there show the site with a single car. It's one of our rangers who took that photo basically the day after it was completed. That first night, the visitors were already flocking to the site as a sunset viewing site. And it's proving, we knew it would be quite popular as a sunset viewing site. We did conduct a very small, simple site blessing with the contractor and with our UH facilities group that was conducted by our cultural monitor, Carl Halemano. So it was not anything big and grand, just something small and appropriate for that place. So that project has been deemed substantially complete. On the CSO decommissioning, they have made substantial progress since the dome removal was completed, last week. They have started on removal of the foundation. They have also excavated the location of the cesspool, and they have taken soil samples as required by Department of Health permit to test the soil under the cesspool. They are awaiting the results of that. So the work right now is still focused on the foundation of the observatory proper. This is a photo that was taken from the webcam stream that public can access. Looking down on the site, it was taken this afternoon at about 2:40. So they've made substantial progress. They anticipate that the foundation and site restoration is expected to be completed by the end of July or end of September, hopefully sooner, weather permitting. Any questions on decommissioning, either CSO or Hokukia? So there are two items I wanted to brief the board on that recently arose that we haven't had a chance to brief you folks on. So these are just once again for information at this point. Last week, Friday, the Hawaii State Supreme Court issued their decision in the Kanahele versus State of Hawaii case. This is a case that where some of the DHHL beneficiaries brought in action against Department of Transportation and the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, arguing that when the state designated the Mauna Kea Access Road as a state highway in 2018, that was improper, it was illegal. And they also argued that the defendants, particularly Hawaiian Homelands, breached their trust duties by allowing the state to use the Mauna Kea Access Road lands without payment since the 1970s. So that was taken up by the circuit court. And the circuit court disagreed with the plaintiffs and granted a summary judgment in the defendant's favor based on Act 14. I won't get into all the details of Act 14 at this point. Maybe we can discuss it in executive session. But Act 14 basically was intended to be a remedy for all past takings by the state of DHHL land that had not, where they had not been compensated for. And so, the circuit court basically at that time said, that Act 14 remedied that situation and that really the plaintiffs needed to pursue, the proper remedy would be the plaintiffs to pursue with the state the actual reimbursement to DHHL for the lands that were taken to use to build the Maunakea Access Road. That was appealed, that went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court issued their opinion on Friday where they disagreed with the circuit court and they held in favor of the plaintiffs. Basically, they said Act 14 doesn't, the plaintiff's claims are still valid even under Act 14. That the state, specifically DHHL and DOT, has violated their trust relationship to the beneficiaries by not ensuring that the compensation had been for this land had been that remedy had not been fulfilled, and a variety of other things. So the case now has been remanded to circuit court, but it's unclear what the remedy is. At least to me, it's unclear what the remedy is. The map there shows the Maunakea Access Road from the intersection of Daniel K. Inouye Highway all the way up. And you see the portions of the road that it goes through Hawaiian homelands. So it's a pretty significant portion. If you kind of remember the layout, you know that when you turn onto the access road from the intersection, you encounter an initial cattle guard or cattle gate. And then as you go up the mountain, roughly a little bit past where that red arrow is, there's a second cattle guard. So that's the upper portion of the Hawaiian homelands lands that the road traverses. So we're still trying to understand what the implications are at this point. I've reached out to Hawaiian Homes. My contacts at Hawaiian Homes haven't heard back anything yet. The kinds of things that are going through our mind is, if Hawaiian Homes now has jurisdiction over these lands, are we going to need to get some kind of an easement or an access agreement or something like that to be able to drive up there? It has been basically used as a public road for many, many years. So I don't know how that plays into things. There's also now a question about, since it's not a state highway, it's not a county road, what is the county's jurisdiction for enforcement on that portion of the road? So lots of unanswered questions at this point. Let me stop there, see if there's any questions. Again, I'm not an expert here. I'm still trying to figure this out. Okay. The second matter I wanted to update the board on, which we have not had a chance to discuss, I had a chance to do a little bit of a briefing this afternoon with Roberta, is a bill that passed out of the legislature this session, Senate Bill 1511. Senate Bill 1511 and all of its various drafts is intended to clarify the purpose of the Research Corporation of the University of Hawaii, RCUH, and its undertakings, and to limit its role and the use by the university and other state agencies of RCUH to hiring and procurement that are reasonably necessary to carry out the original purpose of RCUH. There has been a question about how RCUH or claim that RCUH has drifted from its original purpose when it was first created, and that it is now become is being used by the university and other state agencies in a much broader way when we receive extramural funds or federal grants or whatever, contracts. So SB 1511 did pass out of the legislature. It's now has been sent to Governor Green for signature or veto. It significantly limits what is considered a research employee, specifying that persons being educated or trained shall be engaged in the conduct of research pursuant to a grant, contract, or other authorized funded agreement. So it sounds very, very much like the only employees that should be hired through RCUH are people who are actively engaged in research. In our case, about 49 of our employees are RCUH employees. This includes our administrative staff, our utilities crew, our rangers, our food and lodging folks, our utilities folks, et cetera. Most of whom, or all of whom, their jobs are really situated to enable the research being conducted by the observatories on Mauna Kea by providing logistical, operational, and administrative support. You know, it's really that team of employees who do everything from clearing the road and snow blowing and maintaining the facilities for the research enterprise, doing the procurement, et cetera. So if this bill were to be signed into law, it's unclear how our employees then get handled. You know, do they become state employees? Do they become state employees at some point in time, et cetera, et cetera? And then now this coming right on the heels of us starting to work closely with MKSOA's management team on sort of a number of these transition issues. We've got to figure out the implications for transitioning operations to MKSOA. So we have met with Lenny Govea, Executive Director of RCUH. Received some guidance there, but he was not certain sort of what will happen should this bill become law. We know that there are people lobbying the governor to veto the bill. Apparently, he has indicated in some public comments that it's something that he is considering. And so it has major implications, not just for CMS, but and MKSOA, but also for the university as a whole. Other state departments hire through RCUH as well. And at least one of our observatories, Subaru, has a significant number of their employees who are hired through RCUH. So I'm not quite sure what they're doing to look at this issue. So once again, this is something that I believe the governor has until June 25th or June 28th or something like that to put it on his intent to veto list. So I'm not sure exactly what will happen. But there, as I said, there is a active initiative lobbying to have him veto it. Any questions?
Yes, one. How long before it would take effect if it's signed?
Our understanding is that it takes effect on July 1st if it's signed. And it does not specify a transition period or what happens. How that whole process is supposed to work. Okay, one more quick update. As I indicated, with John DeFries and Lloyd Unibisami now being on board, we've had the opportunity to work closely with them. We spent about 15, 16 hours with them a couple weeks ago over a 3-day period here in Hilo and then also up on the Mauna, providing a briefing, an overview and introduction to all of our operations. The first day was about a half day, 3.5 hours of here in this room, where we provided an overview of our structure, our organization, how the finances work, how the decision-making works, et cetera. And then on the second day, we spent a little over half a day up at Halepohaku with our managers. So they got all of our managers got a chance to meet John and Lloyd and vice versa. Each of them provided overview of their department's responsibilities, et cetera. We discussed a number of different issues. Obviously, this was all sort of pretty steep learning curve for John and Lloyd, but I think it was a good start. And then we also spent a fair amount of time discussing some key transition issues. In the afternoon, we were able to take Lloyd up to the summit to see the decommissioning of CSO and Hopukea. Those two projects were still in process at the time. And so that was good for Lloyd. John wasn't able to join us for that portion of the training or briefing. And then the next day we met here in Hilo for a couple of hours to kind of debrief and discuss, sort of answer any questions that they had. Since then, we have received several requests for clarification and questions from Lloyd in particular. He is actually coming over tomorrow. We have a Maunakea Shared Services Oversight Committee meeting tomorrow. He's coming over to attend that. That is the body that approves the budget, the annual budget for the Maunakea Shared Services Group, basically all of our operations on the Mauna. So he wanted to sit in on that, and he wants to meet the folks who are on that committee. So that'll be a good introduction as well. So again, sort of no clear plans or suggestions yet or path forward yet, but at least we're starting the process to be able to introduce them to how things work so that they can determine, how they might want to set things up. John, I don't know if you wanted to add anything to anything I've said as well.
No, thank you for spending all the time with them. They really appreciate it.
Okay. So that concludes my executive director's report. Any general questions? Okay. I'll turn it back to you, Chair.
She's on mute.
Oh, you're on mute, Roberta.
Oh, she turned her camera on.
I don't know, I'm having issues with my connection, but so no other agenda items. The next,
Yeah.
sorry, no other agenda items. And then the next number 7 is executive session. If I could get a motion from someone to move into executive session.
Yeah, Roberta, I'll make the motion. I'd like to move that the board move into executive session so we can consult with our attorneys, particularly on our powers and issues regarding our powers and duties regarding the Maunakea Access Road issue, Senate Bill 1511, and then just generally in our joint management role with MKSOL.
Is there a second? Thank you, Diana. All in favor, say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Okay, we will move now into executive session and we'll return when done. Thank you.
Thank you. So no, I'm not gonna log into executive session.
Hang on. How's this so fast?
Okay, I see everything, everyone's here. So it is now 6:12. I will call the Maunakea Management Board General Meeting back to order. And Greg, if you could summarize our executive session, I'd appreciate it. Oh, everybody's on mute.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. So during the executive session, we had the opportunity to discuss with our attorneys the implications of the Maunakea Access Road issue on our operations and our legal responsibilities. Also had an opportunity to discuss with our attorneys the implications of Senate Bill 1511 for our transition with Maunakea Stewardship Oversight Authority. No decisions were made, no recommendations were made. All of the conversation was for informational purposes to ensure that the board fully understands the implications of these various matters on our responsibilities.
Thank you. So we move on to announcements. Our next public meeting will be on Tuesday, July 2nd at 5 p.m. Greg, I didn't know if you had any other announcements.
I don't, do you have any? No. No.
Okay. Let's see, it is now, I have 6:14. Being that we've covered all the items on our agenda, I will adjourn the meeting and wish all you fathers out there happy Father's Day and aloha.
Aloha.
Take care. Thank you.
For all the clear explanations, folks. I appreciated it. All right, bye.